Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Nikita Antoine and today we'll be doing a message for the sign of Capricorn. As always, Capricorn, all of my readings are timeless, so when the message finds you and resonates, then it is yours at the time in which you find it. Capricorn, I've done your spread today with my traditional deck. It is the Dreamscape Oracle, the Luna Tarot, and the Ethereal Visions Tarot, all blended into one. So you'll be seeing those in your spread today. Capricorn, I'm having a little bit of trouble deciding exactly who you are in this story. So I'm feeling pretty inclined to tell you that if you find that the roles are reversed or if you are on the other side of the story, place yourself where you see fit. Okay? Um, so while I was doing your pre-shuffle and, just getting into the Capricorn essence, there was a lot of idea of scheduling, like determining, okay, well, I have a little bit of time here, I can add this here, or instead of doing this activity, I could replace it with this. And it was all centered around health. So it's like, instead of perhaps maybe using your time to do something that is really not productive, it's coming through actually as like scrolling through social media, things like that, like just like aimlessly and endlessly scrolling. And instead of doing things like that, things that aren't really adding to the productivity in your life, it's like replacing those things with things that would be adding like a sense that would at least give you a sense of vitality and would help to bring you into a space that would have an overall improvement to your health. So let's see how this ends up playing out. At the bottom of the deck, your underlining energy here is the Chariot. What a gorgeous card. So this is actually looking like someone else's energy that is coming in to add fuel to the fire, is how it's referring. So it's a very swift energy it's arriving in your life and giving you some type of inspiration to where you should be headed next. And I'm noticing here that in this Chariot energy, he's holding a wand. And the wand actually seems to be playing out in your spread overall, because there does look to be like there's an energy in your life that is presented with this wand, and they're trying to actually pull you into a new way of doing things, because you are in a space where you are trying to establish, it looks like it's like you're establishing some type of schedule that would bring a lot of benefit to you, like restructuring your schedule. And so because you're in that space and that vibration of wanting to restructure, wanting to bring more health into your life, this is coming in as a response, this Chariot energy. I'm trying to determine whether or not this energy came in first or if it was to respond. I mean, I suppose it would be to a response. It's kind of like what happened first, the chicken or the egg type of thing. So you might be experiencing it as you have an idea of where you want to go, and then perhaps maybe another person is, I want to say that they actually might be like leading by example because they're at the head of the chariot and you're coming in almost like you're catching the wave with them. You're catching a ride with them. Okay. And then on the split, the bridging energy, we have the raven, which is really gorgeous. I love the raven. This is actually coming in very differently. Usually I see the raven as news or a message that's wanting to get to you that you don't necessarily know if it's a good message or a bad message, neither of which, of course, that's perspective. But what I'm actually seeing here is it's like a book. I'm thinking of The Raven, like Edgar Allan Poe. It's a book of stories, a book of poetry, something like that. Okay, so remember how we were referring to you trying to establish, I think that it's really coming through as like trying to establish good habits. For instance, instead of scrolling, right, on social media, and not that that is a, of course, everything in moderation is key, and not that that is necessarily a poor addiction, if you will. It does, whatever the activity that you're doing does seem to be taking away time from which you could be investing in your own health. And it looks like one of those things that you could be doing with your goal in mind is actually like reading. It's coming through as reading, like reading short stories or reading poetry, maybe something with a little bit more of a macabre sense, especially with the reference to Edgar Allan Poe. It's almost like if you have that book on your shelf, pick it up and read it because there's something in that book that is going to give you a message of where to go or where to head. Perhaps maybe even, I don't know if that is a short story or if it's one of his poems, but I know that he has one that's called The Raven. So check that out. It's definitely making itself known in your reading. All right, let's look up the overall energy for Capricorn's essence. This is gorgeous. It's the architect. This actually showed up in the same position in the Aquarius reading. So maybe check out the Aquarius reading if you have that in your chart, or if you're dealing with somebody that has Aquarius in their chart, you might see a little bit of reference in there. Okay, so the architect here as your overall energy is coming through. Okay, I'm loving this. You see all of these lines down here? It's referring to that book. opening a book. You see the hands? It's like they're opening this book. There's some type of illumination that is going to happen when you open this book. There's something in that book or in that story that is going to inform how you design your schedule. Because with the architect, there's a lot of design that's implied here. And you're in a space where you're trying to design a new schedule that would be more beneficial to your health, your well-being, your overall well-being. The overall energy here is the architect. So you're actively taking a role in which you're designing what you want to experience in your life. And it does seem like there's a little bit of inspiration that's going to be coming from this story. The idea of a story has been coming up a lot lately. In the Pisces reading, it showed up as a story that they actually didn't belong to and were in the process of leaving in order to pick up a new book off of the shelf. And for you, it seems like you're in the process, of course, as we move through the thread, you're in the process of actively taking that book off the shelf and opening it. So you're kind of in this place where you're in the in between. You're still in the process of planning, yet not quite actually having made that leap into the new space that you want to see yourself in. So you're showing up here as the Page of Wands, which is it's really important because you're actually in a wonderful place where you can you're opening up to a new adventure. It's the Page energy. So there's not a lot of expectations to this. It's just wanting to experience something new. Because where you were previously is not beneficial for you. And it's like, that it's not beneficial for you. Because I'm actively seeing you turn your back to it. With your back towards the Magician. What's interesting here, though, is that the Magician is also the one that is in the Chariot energy that is trying to actually put a little fuel under you. It's like they're adding fuel to your fire. So they're adding inspiration to you in the development of this new place that you want to be in. Like I was saying before, it's almost like they're acting as an example, but you seem to be ignoring it. Maybe it's just that you can't see. Maybe it's just that you actually can't see them because you're so focused on whatever you're trying to plan. Like I'm seeing this entire wand as being your, perhaps maybe like your, it's like a timeline. So this could be your daily schedule, your weekly schedule, your monthly schedule. And marking out everything that you need to do to stay on track. What's interesting here, though, is that you have this giant wand. You have this walking stick, which is fine. You're going to get there eventually in a very physical sense. But whatever this magician is, or whatever it represents for you, or perhaps even whoever it represents for you, they have this wand. And even though this wand is presenting as a lot smaller than your walking stick, it contains an element in it that adds, it's like it's adding magic to the experience. And even in the moon readings as of late, there's been a lot of discussion about how adding a sense of play, it's very funny, adding a sense of play can lead to exploration, and that's exactly where you're wanting to go. You're wanting to explore a new way of being, and you're receiving an answer. It might not be necessarily the answer that you want, but it is the answer that you need. And it's providing a magical sense to your life. It's like all of a sudden for you, once you open this book and see whatever this message is that's inside this story, it's like you're going to experience magic, is how it's coming through. It's like you don't necessarily need all of this. You don't need all of this part. Like, this wand is so much smaller than this walking stick. It's something that is very light. It's lighthearted. It's lifting you, especially with that chariot. The chariot has a gorgeous, like, lifting energy. Whereas this is more grounded in your present circumstance. So while you think that the schedule that you're building, the task that you're applying to your list of items, while you do know that it is going to get you there eventually, and that is true, that is very true, you will get there eventually. There's something about this element here, though, that will get you there faster. It's wanting to get you there faster. But it's almost like you're actively ignoring it. And maybe that's just a little bit of stubbornness on your part. It might just be a little stubbornness on your part, because there's a sense of, with the Page of Wands, there's a sense of, I can do this on my own. I can do this on my own. And you're right, you can do it on your own. But you can also accept help. And while you do have the passion, the inspiration, the desire, the willpower to be able to head in this new direction for yourself, there are other elements that you're missing. Because it's coming through as, like, because you're a little headstrong. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing to be headstrong, but it's like if you were to continue in that way, you're going to miss out on I don't even want to say that you'll miss out, because you're not missing out. It's just it's going to come slower. If you want it to quicken its pace, to come to you faster, this needs to be added. And the gorgeous part is that when it does, it's going to add to your strength. It's like there's an enticing energy. This energy here, the magician, has all of the elements that you need. It does seem like they're living by example. They're actually, this element has been coming up as well. It looks like they're reaching through a portal and wanting to maybe like tap you on the back of your shoulder and pull you towards them. You see how they're wanting to tap you and pull you towards them, and they're actually wanting to pull you into your strength, with the strength card being presented here. They're wanting you to it's coming through as they're wanting you to match their energy. This magician showed up in the Pisces reading as someone who was wanting to match your energy so that they could pull you through. So that they could pull you through a portal. Which that portal would be the next story that you're going to pick up off the shelf. Because when we open up a story and we start to read it, we are quickly transported into a new understanding, into a new mindset, or like a new framework. And now if this is showing up as perhaps maybe an individual, with the strengths card here, they could be someone who you actually might deem to be a little bit further along than you. They could be someone that's older than you, someone that seems to be more like established. It could actually be a Leo. But there's a lot here that's coming through about how if they were to match your energy, it would be actually decreasing their light. So they can't, so the way that they want to pull you into this new place, it's almost like the only way that they would be able to do this is if you were to come to them. Because, and of course, it's like they're going to tap your shoulder, but then you have to actively turn around and come towards them. But there's something here about how they cannot diminish their strength to match yours. You have to come up to match theirs. And that's where you're going to see a lot of forward momentum and development in whatever you're trying to achieve. And here, it's like at this point in the reading, I was trying to establish, like, why would you be actively ignoring this? And it seems like perhaps maybe there's something about this character in your life. It's coming through as an individual. I mean, we could be characterizing the book itself. There's something in this book, the character, or the story that is, it's like it's a little bit alarming to you because I'm seeing this shadow. There's something in it that is a little bit, well, if we're talking about reading Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven, it does have a sense of macabre in it. It has a sense of horror. It can be a little bit scary. So there's something in that perhaps might be triggering a little bit of fear because it's showing that it has a lot of strength in the shadow. So this shadow, this looming shadow, is it's very big. It's very big. The 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 trick here is though that with shadows, it's an illusion because you can have a very small item that's casting a shadow it's really big. But when you finally actually go to look at the thing that's casting that shadow, it's something that's really small and minuscule, and it's actually something that you can handle. And I do see that that idea is going to be presented perhaps throughout the this season, this season. It's going to be presented as this is actually not a big deal. So when you open this book and you're presented with this shadow, because I'm seeing it as, with this book, and she's lifting this curtain. It's like this is the act of you opening up this book. Once you find that the shadow is it's actually not that scary, what's going to be revealed to you is this gorgeous justice energy. And the justice here is acting as it's acting as an energy that is putting you back in your rightful position. It's putting you back into your strength, back into your wisdom, back into the words that are coming up are back into your dignity. Your sovereignty is coming back. There's a lot of you're coming into a place where you now recognize that you have power over the things that you experience and power over your life as a whole. You get to decide what you want to experience, and also, not only that, how you want to experience them. They don't need to be experienced with this sense of fear or fright. They can be sensed, they can be experienced with emotions of this is actually magic. It's a magical it's a magical encounter. Not something that's scary. Something that is actually smaller. It's smaller than your walking stick. It's a wand. It's very interesting, Capricorn, because it kind of looks like you might be a little scared of magic. But whatever this experience is, it's definitely going to open the door and you're going to realize that there's nothing to be scared of. that your fear is kind of like this, well, it's like false evidence appearing real. All right, Capricorn, I think I'm going to leave it there. I will be pulling more cards, and if you are interested in watching the extended reading, then you can find the link for that in the description box below, and hopefully I'll see you there. Bye.